Looking for a fun way to win 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/play100 and use code play100. That's code play100 at prizepicks.com/play100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Steering wheel. Laps of steering wheel, yeah. Steering wheel. Hey, steering wheel. Somebody tell him to give it to him. Come on! Whoa!
Hear that, my bass? Hear that hit?
How the f*** is possible?
I'm driving like a grandma. Get that, Ralph? Did you hear me? From the radio. Ralph, acknowledge. Now, come on, close him down and kill him. We've got a lunatic on the track down the Hanger Straight.
I am so annoyed.
Hello, and welcome back to the Parc Fermé. Inside the Parc Fermé, this is Todd.
No, Todd, not now.
AKA Negative Camber. You know why I've asked you here.
You must convince the villagers that I'm harmless.
That's exactly what I need you to do tonight for your kind consideration on podcast number 726. We're going to talk about some news. That's just kind of what we do on off race weekends. But before doing that, I have to introduce my guest tonight. Yep, gotta go all the way to the right coast of our nation, nestled in our nation's capital, where she applies her skills as a master statistician. You know her, you love her. It's the lovely, the redoubtable Grace. Grace, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, Todd. How are you doing?
I am doing well. You know, I gotta say right up front, there's no questioning that you're a Valley fan by looking at that hoodie you've got on.
You can't lose me now,
number
right?
46, the Doctor.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. How did he do this weekend?
Not so good. He didn't do so good last week either. Let's never talk about it again.
All right.
No, yeah. He did not have a either 2 races, but neither did Morbidelli because he got switched. I mean, it's a demotion, I guess, but he was okay with it so that Quartararo could go up to the top team. Well, I don't feel like that's right. Anyway, he switched places, so now he's at the second team instead of the first team with Morbidelli, and neither of them had a good weekend. So
and Mark is out, right?
Yes, still
recovering.
Yes,
yeah.
And but yeah, there's a new Jorge in town. So Jorge Martin is this rookie, and he was on pole at the second race in Doha. So he looked really good. He held it almost to the very end too, which was pretty impressive. So
nice, a new Jorg.
That's right. J-Mar.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, because in Formula One, they do the last 3 letters or like a letter without the, like Schumacher's, SCH or whatever. So, but in MotoGP, they do your first letter of your first name and your, last 3 names. So he's like, it was J-Mar and J-Zar, because it's Joanne Zarco. It was just like A-Rins. Like it was a whole easier conversation that way. Like, because Flip doesn't watch MotoGP as much as I do. So he's just like, who's this J-Zar guy? I'm like, yeah, that's Jay-Z. He's doing pretty good. So that's 2 races. But it's been good. MotoGP is going to be good, as always. So yes, I know. I'll just get that right out there right away that, I know it's a Formula One podcast, but I've been saying it for like 12 years now. So watch the MotoGP. It's doing pretty good.
Absolutely.
Pretty good stuff.
A good series. Well, I love the hoodie because, who doesn't like Rossi?
That's right.
Valentino's
that's right.
awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Grace, did you happen to watch the first Grand Prix of the 2021 season?
I did, but it seems like eons ago.
It does.
Yeah, that's what happens. No, let's see. Yeah, that Lewis guy won again.
Mhm.
Issues with falling off the track, as always. I did tweet this though when Martin Brundle was like, they already have sensors in the track. Like, no way, dog. I've literally been saying that for years. Like, this is a solvable problem.
See, all those years you've been saying on the podcast,
yeah,
you just put sensors in the track. Everybody at home listen to the podcast. Like, Grace, they do that.
We knew. And so I immediately posted that, like, oh, clearly Martin Brundle listens to the show, because I literally have said that at least a million times. Like, you can solve this with a computer. You don't need a human being watching the line at turn 4 to decide if somebody's over it or not.
No.
Why do that? So I don't know. It was just, Formula One. I don't know. I guess there's always a part of me too that worries about it becoming a little too NASCAR competition, yellow kind of, there's always that element. And then I like that everybody complained that the stewards weren't consistent. Well, Crofty, is this your first time watching a Formula One race? I mean, I've only been watching since 2000, but I'm pretty sure every race, at least once, somebody says, these stewards suck. They really should be more consistent from race to race. No kidding.
We've been saying that for 10 years, that they should have a consistent stewarding crew that is consistent, knows all the rules, and renders judgment on them consistently every week in, week out. And then there's no deviation. There's
like every other sport.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And so I just thought that was crazy. But we watched it. It was a good. I thought it was a good race. I enjoyed it. Good season opener. We'll see what Imola looks like. See if people bring some stuff, some upgrades. Although I don't know what that looks like. I realize that you always wait for the first European race to see the upgrades. That's usually like 5 races in, first of all. And I don't know what upgrades we can.
Yeah, normally you go and you do the flyaways and you do it, and then everybody comes back in the first race of the European season. And normally that's where you see the updates.
Right. And so you all are just like, well, Australia, Bahrain, Barcelona. Okay, now the gloves are off. Now we can really see what this is about.
Exactly.
And so I don't know how that's going to look this year, but I'm going to stick with, we'll see what Imola brings. It's the first race in Europe.
Yeah. So you had the Bahrain, and then, all the drivers immediately went and were off, doing their thing instead of being holed up on the other side of the world, the great southern land. But they were, back into Europe. And I happen to know that they were back into Europe. Because if you were the crafty-eyed among you, will have seen Valtteri Bottas in Belgium.
Oh.
And you say, in Belgium? What? Yes. A very dear friend of mine, Koen, in Belgium, lives like 10 minutes from where Valtteri was taking pictures, and he was attending the West Flanders race, which is like the biggest race in Belgium, bicycle race. And so there he is. I know everybody was like, where is he? Where
is Jessica Hyde?
Right? Nobody knows. Where is Valtteri?
Yeah.
But my buddy Koen knows, and he sent me a WhatsApp. He goes, this is like 10 minutes from my house,
Go find him.
Yeah, he's down there. But it makes sense because Valtteri's new significant other is a cyclist. And I think she was racing in his wife, his ex-wife now, was a swimmer.
Right.
And so his new girlfriend, I don't think they're married, is a cyclist. And so there you have it.
Often every time I search for something like, how old somebody is or how tall they are or something like that, inevitably it says, who is so-and-so dating, or I'm like, I don't know. Okay, thanks. Yeah. I mean, I think short of Max Verstappen, do I really care? No, there's really no intrigue there, It's usually just some person, except for Max Verstappen. It's not just some person. And we never talk about that.
I like to think that Valtteri would have stopped into Kortrijk, which is the hometown of Stoffel, and went into the McDonald's there and just signed the wall, because they've got these pictures of Stoffel in the McDonald's there.
That's
but
terrible.
He could have went in and just signed the wall. Valtteri Bottas was here, And I'm still in F1, and you're the reserve driver for our team.
Draw like some glasses on him or something.
Yeah.
A mustache. Right. Draw like a mustache on him and a pointy
mustache,
beard,
a snaggly whiplash. Yeah.
Yes.
That would be good. Because I know there's pictures in that McDonald's because I've eaten in that McDonald's. I've been there. And that would be good for him to go in and draw little glasses and a mustache on him. And thanks for all that sim work you do for me.
Gosh. My friend George says hi too.
Yeah, right. That would be good. So anyway, that's what the drivers are up to.
Nolan Ryan. I was like the baseball player. I could not think of his name. Okay, so now I can't think where he is in he's from a small town outside of Houston. Anyway, his picture's everywhere. Ryan Nolan. Even though, it's not like he played yesterday, right? He played in my childhood. So
Klein, Texas. No, that's Lyle Lovett. It's Klein.
Yes. Anyway, but there's a barbecue place there it's really quite tasty, but Nolan Ryan's hometown, which is how I then remembered where the barbecue place is.
Well, I was born and raised in Kansas City, so we're barbecue snobs, and we feel like all other barbecue is pointless.
That's fair.
And it's all molasses-based, sweet and smoky, right? And that's Kansas City barbecue. I will admit, and I don't like Memphis style, and I don't like vinegar-based or mustard-based. I'm a molasses-based guy. But I will say that the second best barbecue I've had was in Texas. There
you go. See, I think that I will try it all, and I'll let you know.
All right. You try it all.
I feel like I have preferences, but, it's all good.
That's how you roll.
That's right.
You
beef
and Paul,
ribs, I'm happy.
You and Paul are adventurous. You've been known to tuck into a good curry.
That's right. Indian food's delicious, right?
Yeah.
I don't think. Oh, I'm sure they do.
Well, Paul's British. He's required by law to like Indian food.
Yeah, perhaps, right?
Yeah.
It's their thing. So, yeah, I think that anyway, that's what made me think of that is that you go to any place in that town in Texas and Nolan Ryan's face is everywhere, even though, he played like, 7 years ago. And I'm sure that's how Stoffel Van Doren's McDonald's will also be.
Yeah.
40 years from now, it'll still be Stoffel Van Doren's McDonald's.
Yeah. So, and I told this story before, but if you're newer to the podcast, so I'm in Belgium and I go into the McDonald's because I was curious how their McDonald's compares to our, as a Yankee, is our McDonald's, right?
That's right.
So I go in there and everything's in Dutch, of course, and I can't read a damn thing, except they do have the automatic menus, with screens, and they were way ahead on that. And then I was looking, so they had the English version. So I'm scouring that thing, trying to find a quarter pounder.
Yeah.
And it dawns on me, they're on the metric system. They don't have a quarter pounder, And it was like the Royal, whatever they call it.
Royal cheese.
Yeah. Royal with cheese. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so I'll take badonk. I'll take the Royal and cheese. And they were super, super nice because, they knew, there was an American walking to the front door as soon as they saw me walk in. And so they were nice and trying to help me, get food and sustenance and not die on their city.
That's their job, right? They're trying
to
be
It was their job. And they were, very helpful. The folks out in West Flanders. So that was nice. But as I sat down, I looked around, well, there's a big picture of Stoffel Van Doren and there's some swag from Stoffel and, because they're proud of him,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
I would totally always eat in that McDonald's if I was Stoffel Van Doren.
I know. Imagine when Stoffel goes in there, everybody's got to get excited, right?
I think the other thing too is that I always want to be so I don't know. Tiffany Haddish tells a story in her book about when she took Jada and Will Smith on this Groupon boat, alligator boat ride like you do in Florida, like the really cheesy touristy ones. Anyway, and people keep asking Will Smith, like, you look like Will Smith. And he's like, I get that all the time. Like, he's clearly Will Smith. But I just think that would be, I always want to kind of pull that joke too. Like if I was Stoffel Van Doren, people are like, isn't that you? I get that all the time, that jerk.
Everybody thinks I look like Stoffel.
Gosh.
It's crazy.
Can't I just eat my Royale with cheese by myself?
My Royale with cheese. Yeah, the menu had me for a loop. And in true Belgian fashion, which I'd never done my whole life until I went to Belgium. In true Belgian fashion, you go in there, they give you fries and they give you mayonnaise.
Right. That's right.
And I was like, well, what the hell is this?
We're the only ones that eat with ketchup.
Where ketchup? Where's the ketchup? Right.
Yeah.
And so it was like, no, mayonnaise. And so it's awesome with mayonnaise.
It is
Belgium's
awesome.
Got that. They got beer figured out and they got the French fries and mayonnaise thing.
Yeah.
Completely sussed.
Yeah, mayonnaise is. I mean, it's the salty, fat, fried, mayonnaise combo. It's all fats. It's delicious. I agree.
Yeah.
Good French fries, perfect with mayonnaise. But yeah, I think we're the only country that eats ketchup. We're definitely the only country that eats ranch dressing. So if you ever
ranch dressing,
take that with you if you can't live without it.
I bet Paul loves a good ranch dressing.
There you go. And now I can't remember. There was some. We watched some Lando Norris YouTube clip. There's some salad dressing. It's some sauce like that, like Thousand Island dressing, something that he eats. It's a very British thing that I'd never heard of before either.
Oh, really? Oh, funny.
Yeah, and so it ends with him like, in some hotel and like, I don't know, Spa or Emil or something, asking room service if they have this condiment, this Heinz condiment that is only a British thing. I can't remember.
Funny.
Somebody will tell me. I'll find it. But yeah, it was really funny that he's just like, that was like this running gag that I'm like, I had never heard of this.
Huh. Leave it to Lando.
Well, again, I think it's, the Brits have their whole own set of condiments.
They have
HP
their whole
sauce
thing.
and goes from there, right?
Yeah. They get the whole thing that they do.
Yeah.
It's like Ted Kravitz loving a good Cornish pasty, but he can't stand the smell of them. I've never had a Cornish pasty. It sounds delicious.
I mean, I only know what a pasty is from watching Great British Bake Off. That is not something that if we eat here, or and then sometimes they're different word. Like we have a different word for that.
Hot pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. That is the right answer. It is a very fancy hot pocket. That is correct. Yes.
Except ours come in a box and it's frozen and it's got a shelf life of like 6,000 years.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the apple pies from McDonald's from our childhood, right?
Caution, filling is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were deep fried, right?
Yeah.
So just like I like referring to all my eggplants as aubergines because that sounds so much more fun than eggplants.
Yeah.
I would like the aubergine curry. Thank you very much. Aubergine.
Excuse me, I'd like the pomme de terres, please.
Yeah, right. It just sounds. It either sounds better or sounds ridiculous, right? Because then you have kind of the whole toad in the hole kind of thing. Like then there's the whole level of like, who named this food? A 2-year-old? What is this? Right. Yeah.
It's
great. Fine cuisine.
Great fun. So, I don't have the shekels to go to the UK and just, drive around and ransack the place. But, if I ever get over there, I got to go try all that, like a Cornish pasty and go to the pub and get true British fish and chips, not American, imagining fish chips, but, real stuff. And,
I mean, you could also go to like New York City or, large cities are going to have like more authentic food, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. But
you don't have to go to another country.
When in Rome, So I'm thinking,
there you go.
Yeah, I got to do that.
I'm just trying to save you some shekels.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I did. The whole idea of eating baked beans for breakfast doesn't appeal to me though.
Oh, see, I'm all into the savory, man. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I've had a full English breakfast. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
And I also enjoy that because that's the other thing too. And this is true of all cuisine. If something has a cute name, don't ask.
Yeah, right.
Like you don't want to know what it is. It's given a cute name on purpose, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now they do have a place here in St. Louis called the Scottish Arms, which is a real traditional, Scottish stuff. Yeah. And I went down there and had breakfast there and had the Scotch egg for the first time. I looked at that and I said, "What the hell is all over that thing?"
Yeah.
What is this? A chia pet? What is this?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. It was a little different. Yeah.
I think, I've often said that, I'm not one to, pick on other people's food cuisines because, I've certainly grown up eating some weird stuff in my life that you just Scottish eggs, I just think are one of those things that you grew up eating Scotch eggs or you didn't, but it's not something you really adapt as an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, and haggis.
Okay, so I've had haggis. It's disgusting, and I'm not. It is weird mouthfeel.
I know. I went to this Bobby Burns festival get together for the Bobby Burns Society here. I was invited to that, and I go, and they always have the haggis, right? And they recite the cutting and the serving the haggis. And the only way I could choke that down was put a hell of a lot of scotch on it.
Oh, it was.
That was. Yeah, that was just unsavory. So anyway, well, thank you for joining us for this wine and and food podcast.
Right, but anyway, I eat scrapple. I grew up eating scrapple, so I try to not be critical of other people's food cuisine.
That's actually against the law in Missouri.
Yeah, see, it should be, but scrapple is one of those things that you either grew up eating, and people either go, "Oh, scrapple, I love some scrapple," or they're like, that's disgusting. Or they go, I don't know what that is. And then you're like, don't ask. Don't look it up.
Looking for a fun way to win 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/play100 and use code play100. That's code play100 at prizepicks.com/play100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
It's all the stuff. You're like, it's what comes after hot dogs.
Right.
What was rejected from the hot dogs is what gets put in Scrapple.
Right.
So,
I still get beat up all the time because all my ham sandwiches, turkey sandwich, whatever is with Miracle Whip, and everybody beats the crap out of me for eating Miracle Whip. I'm sorry, I like Miracle Whip.
So where we're talking about mayonnaise, I want to introduce. So this is, I believe it's Japanese. I'm pretty sure
Japanese mayonnaise. Yes.
Yeah. So you've had
Which
Kewpie mayo.
It tastes like Miracle Whip.
No, it does not. Kewpie mayo because it's more egg yolk. Yeah. It's delicious. It's how you make egg salad.
I'm asking Yuki Tsunoda because he'll know.
That's fine, but I don't know. I'm just saying that I always think, because I'm sure this is from your children's childhood as well, that they go to Easter egg hunts and they come home with like a zillion dozens of hard-boiled eggs, and you and your wife are just like, what the hell are we going to do with 7 dozen hard-boiled eggs? Because of course the kids like eat the white off of one and are like, oh, I don't want this, right? So you're like, what am I going to do with all these hard-boiled eggs? Egg salad sandwich. So I'm like, this week is always feels like egg salad sandwich week, because it's, even though I don't have, my nieces and nephews are all older and I don't have the like 700 dozens of hard-boiled eggs in my life.
Right.
But
well,
Kewpie
egg salad
mayo,
sandwich has got to go with mayonnaise, not Miracle Whip in that. But yes, I get your point.
Kewpie mayo, though, I'm telling you,
Kewpie
all of you
mayo.
go find it right now.
There you go, folks. Kewpie mayo. I bet Charsley has 2 bottles of Kewpie mayo.
He might. He should. It's delicious. But it's more yolk than whites. That's
most of you don't know this about Paul, but he's a culinary genius. That Paul.
That's true. I do follow him on the social medias.
He should have his own cooking show in the paddock, like the cars come in, they box for tires, Paul's behind the wall cooking, serving up, meals, and he's got to do it within 2 stints, right? He's only got 2 stints to make the full dinner.
That's right.
And then the car comes in, the driver gets out, and you have to serve him a full dinner.
You know what? I think they should do it in the car. You know how I don't know that they still do this, but in NASCAR, the guy that does the squeegeeing for the window he leans over a pit wall with a squeegee and a really long stick, right?
Yeah.
I want to believe that's how he feeds them, right? He just shoves the pancakes in the door, he eats them and takes them back out again.
Right. So Paul's
on your way.
Here's a steak tartare.
And we're done.
Yeah. Here's a Cornish pasty. Eat it up. Yeah.
I don't know.
Roman, sorry, you get a Hot Pocket, dude. Sorry.
That's they're delicious.
Yeah, they're really nice. The cheese just burns the hell out of your mouth.
And then there's fancy ones. It's just the fancy ramen noodles. like you're an adult and you stole your ramen noodles. Here you go. You get the fancy ones, right? All right, not like we ate in college.
There's freeze-dried peas in that thing.
It's again fancy.
It's crazy. All right, people are sick of our food talk.
They're not. They
are. I get hate. If I don't start this podcast and just immediately get to the point in the news. People hate on me. They send me angry emails. They call me an idiot. It's terrible. So I got to jump into this.
Okay, that is terrible, and they need to get over that. I think we've been this way for 13 years, people.
I know. They just reckon, well, it's a different era, and now it's the time of cancel culture, so we need to cancel this idiot because he talks about other crap other than Formula One, and that I don't want to hear.
I don't know. I think that's just part of our charm.
It is part of our charm.
You don't get that from the race. You don't know what Ed Straw's favorite food items are. You don't.
You would never have known that Grace liked Kewpie mayo.
See? Do you know that? No.
You didn't know that.
Mm-mm.
Is there air? You don't know. All right. Sorry. All right. First up, we're going to talk about Haas.
They get get the Frank noise now?
I don't know, man. Everybody gets the Frank noise at this point.
Oh, my
Ferrari
goodness.
gets the Frank noise. Everybody does.
I don't know. I think they're now
I
that they
know.
can
You look down at Ferrari and you can hear the strains of harp. And it sounds as if things are turning around, but who knows?
I think they can now use their engine at its full capacity again. So that has to be helpful for them. So
No, right. Whereas last year it was like,
yeah. So, and for the love of all things Carlos Sainz, I do hope they do better this year.
well, you weren't afraid to admit to me that you were a Chile fan.
That's right. But, again, it's Kimi Räikkönen and Fernando Alonso all over again.
That's it. So Haas, Hat Tip Autosport. They've quoted one Gunther Steiner, who Grace and I have reduced to a one name like Madonna, Prince, Steiner. That's all you need. When you say Steiner, I don't care how many Steiners there are in the world, because when you say Steiner, everyone knows you mean Gunther.
There's only one.
There's only one.
Yeah.
That can only be one.
I was
The head
disappointed.
of which does not have a name. I know its name. Come on. Highlander? You didn't watch? There
No.
can only be one. No?
I'm a woman. I did not watch that.
Okay. Well, you and Flip sit down, watch Highlander.
Oh, Flip has watched it. That I'm sure of.
Oh, okay.
He
All
quoted like Conan Barbera. Oh my God. Conan the Barbarian. That's like Hanna-Barbera and Conan the Barbarian
Conan?
combined.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and they hear the lamentation of their women.
There you go.
Exactly. But not that, because that quote I know. But it was some other quote. And he's like, you don't know that? I'm like, no. I was doing
know
other
all
things
the
with my
lines
life.
from that movie.
Yeah, so did he. So it was fine. So I'm sure he's seen that movie.
Funny.
Just not
Yeah,
me.
I'm sure. So Gunther said this about Haas F1 in the 2021 Formula One season. He said, quote, I would say if we can take the fight to Williams, that's about it.
You can't take the fight to Williams.
Really? He said, that's about it. And I'm very realistic about that. And we are not putting any effort into doing anything more than that. He says, I think the biggest amount we can get out of the car is to get our drivers prepared or get them prepared better. Just get them experience. And that is what we want to do. So they are ready when we have a better car. And that's just how our plan is this year.
Oh, so when you have a better car, not when they move to a better car. Oh.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Not when Mick Schumacher ditches the team for a better
right. You think you're going to get a better car. Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
That's good. Hey, look, the team didn't make any bones about it heading into the season. They said that the car will not be updated much beyond what it was at the time of the launch. And they're going to spend all of their time and resources focused on the 2022 car, which is what a lot of the smaller teams will actually need to do to compete. But there is another side of this that has said, well, no, wait a minute. Wasn't that the point of a cost cap? I mean,
right.
What's you think about, okay, well, I thought that's what the cost cap was. But anyway, you've got a side who's saying, well, what's the point of trundling around just giving drivers experience? And the cost cap is in effect. I guess it's going to I don't know. I thought the cost cap would make it a little easier for these teams to kind of develop a little bit, not spend a fortune. I guess maybe that cost cap we won't really, although it's in effect now for a team like Haas, we may not see that really start to pay dividends until in 2022 and forward. And fair enough if there's a little bit of a knock on or a delay on that. But there isn't much the team's going to achieve beyond training as a training year for two rookie drivers. And maybe this is a season for Mazepin's dad to get his feet wet as a potential majority owner. And I kind of feel like that's what we're going to watch Haas do for the majority of the season. We're going to watch him break front wings and as a training session for their two drivers. And maybe Mazepin's dad gets a good dose of what it's like to own an F1 team. I don't know.
And it gives Drive to Survive at least one other storyline besides Christian Horner, right?
Yeah, right. So it gives Drive to Survive another episode, which you've got Gunther F-bombing and telling Gene to get bent because now he's got Mazepin fun in the bill.
Yeah, it was. I mean, His quotes were not as good. Although last year was a peak year, I think, for the Steiner quotes. So I don't know that he could have topped it this year, but was not as good.
Right. I agree. So their goal this year, beat Williams.
I don't even think they're going to beat Latifi.
I don't know.
What does it all mean, Basil?
I think if they are able to not take each other out, that might be like the high bar. I mean, I don't even think they're going to get any points.
I think at some level, it really just becomes a battle between the two drivers.
I mean, that's all it can be.
Right. I mean, that's kind of where you're left, because I kind of feel like Williams is going to take a step up.
Yes, I hope so.
I kind of feel like they've brought in some talent. Capito and the other guys, and I kind of feel like it's almost like Capto, like a gentleman's shoe, a Capto.
Yes.
Capito. And they've brought in, they got George Russell. He's a really good driver.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they're going to take a step up. So for Haas to say we're focused on being Williams, well, in fairness, that could be a good fight. I don't know.
Yeah. They have to get out of their own way. They've never been very good at that.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. So I don't know. Difficult times. If you're a Haas F1 fan, you're American, it's an American team, and now it looks like a Russian flag, and they're just going to trundle around the back and hope they could lob a couple grenades at Williams at certain tracks, and this whole thing. And we're teaching our drivers and all that. It's very difficult if you're an American fan and you were really latched on this team as an American team, and now the whole thing has really changed complexion quite a bit.
Yeah, I do think so. Ted's notebook from testing, and he was talking to George Russell while the Drive to Survive crew is filming them. And I thought it was a really good, because we often talk about George Russell's ability to speak the truth, but not dog the team.
Yeah, right.
And especially when the team deserved to be dogged, but he always has this real professionalism too.
Yep.
So of course Ted asks him well, did you watch Drive to Survive? And he's like, well, no is the answer, but he doesn't want to say that, and they're filming him, right? So I joked that first of all, it would have been hilarious if during Ted's notebook this boom mic just goes whoop right on his head, like oh my fault, sorry. Did I hit you on the head? You didn't watch Drive to Survive. Thanks a lot, George. Right. But they didn't do that because they are professionals and not me. But I just think that, he kind of said it in a way, which is, it's hard for me to watch it because these are real people to me. Right. Like, this isn't just like watching a TV show. This is me. These are my friends. I know these people. So it's hard to watch because there's more depth to the story than what Drive to Survive can ever show you. So long story short, I think that what Mick Schumacher may get from this season is experience. I mean, there is something to say that seat time is seat time, and being around Formula One and the circus and seeing what that's like. There's definitely something to that, but he's also going to pick up, hopefully, the George Russell ability to tell Drive to Survive that I think you suck without really saying it that way.
Right.
And, which I think, again, George just really has that. So maybe, there's that he could learn, because I think he's going to have to spend a lot of time yada-yadaing over his teammate. I've known that guy for a long time, and I had a okay race today. That's good. That's how many ways can he say that?
Right. No, I think, it's a good point. So, I'll have to, get his whole spiel down.
Yeah, but their only competition is each other.
Yeah, I agree.
The man versus man.
Oh boy. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about your friend and mine.
Really, Sebastian is crazy.
Talk about Sebastian Vettel, shall we? Let's talk about Sebastian.
Let's do it. Yes.
It's a real bummer.
It is a real bummer.
We did have some discussion on Twitter when he got mad at Ocon, right, during the race.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, it was clearly Vettel's fault. I'm like, right. But I said, in basketball, whenever there's a foul, the guy accused of committing the foul always does this, right? Like, oh, what? I didn't do it. And I always joke because that's like what my brother would have done when we were kids. Yeah. My dad would have been like, what are you guys doing? I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. She ran into my fist, right? Like, you can never take the blame as your first thing, right? That's always your first reaction is you got to sell it. So I'm like, so of course Vettel's first reaction is Ocon's driving all over the place. And then later he's like, oh yeah, I watched it. I read
go for a wee.
Yeah, exactly. So, as soon as that happened, Seb was on the radio.
Think about the children. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, it's annoying, but I just think it's always that. You always have to, your first response always has to be not my fault.
Right.
Because especially because the stewards are paying attention. And if it is your fault, you can't say, oh my God, that was my fault. I totally ran into Ocon, because then they're really going to penalize you.
Right. Yeah. Tell Esteban I'm really sorry about hitting him. You're not going to say that.
No, call Michael, get Michael on the phone, tell him I did it on purpose.
Right.
That's not going to happen. But
poor Sebastian. Well, he had a tough outing in the season. In the season opening Bahrain Grand Prix, a tough outing. And to be honest, it didn't look much different than the last Bahrain race there in 2020. And to be honest, it doesn't look that much different than the entire 2020 season and arguably the 2019 season and the challenges that he's been having at Ferrari. And a lot of people, it's prompted a lot of people to question whether his heart is still in it or if Aston has made a serious error in letting Sergio Perez go.
You like my face? You like it?
Actually, yeah, I do, Sergio. And so everyone say, oh my gosh, he didn't show up and he's blaming Ocon. He's at the back of the grid. I mean, this is just a continuation of what was going on at Ferrari. So there's a lot of people scratching head over it. Now, Sebastian said the issue is the car.
Yes.
And he said, quote, it's probably not the weekend we were looking for, but there's a lot of things that we learned in the race that we need to address. We will see how quickly we can fix them, but I'm not at home in the car. There's a lot of things that are fighting me so that I can really focus on driving. We need to address them and try to fix them, end quote.
Yeah, I heard it's the rake of the car doesn't suit him. So that's going to be problematic.
Oh, that would be problematic because they can't just crank
can't
it
fix
up.
that, right?
Can't fix it.
Yeah. I guess the idea is what they did in the rules to hinder Mercedes is going to hinder all the Mercedes cars, right? And so that's the net effect. That's the bigger effect of that kind of a rule change is that, yes, maybe you've affected Mercedes, but Mercedes is probably going to figure it out. But nobody else who uses their stuff is going to be able to do that. So Aston's going to continue to suffer.
Yeah, it's very difficult in that sense. And, there's some notion that, look, cars are difficult. And really good drivers figure out a way to drive around some of those issues. And you say, okay, well, that's a heck of a lot easier to say that than to do that. And that would be true. Right. You can't say, okay, yeah, the car drives like a, greased pig. But, you're a pro. You should be able to get in and win races. Well, no, that's not true. Although I would say that where Lance did a really good job in that first race and was running in top 10, you would expect to see Sebastian around there. Now he had the grid penalty and all that, I guess. But to your point, it's only one race.
Absolutely. So this is where I feel like I am terrible at being a pundit. That is a job I could never have, right? Because when you sent this story, I was like, it's been one race. Okay, next story, right? Like we don't really need, 20 sentences to talk about this. But I do think that, of course, we all want him to do well, but he's still a new driver at a new team. He's not a new driver, but he's at a new team. Give it a moment and we'll see if they can sort it out. And then it makes sense that Lance, even though Lance skill-wise is lower than Vettel.
Looking for a fun way to win 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/play100 and use code PLAY100. That's code PLAY100 at prizepicks.com/play100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Assuming that he hasn't completely tanked at his time in Ferrari, he's still more familiar with the car, so that's going to give him a leg up, and with the people, because I think this is the thing too, is that we all work with teams, right?
Right.
And there wouldn't be a huge industry of like rock climbing and team building and let's go out into the woods and do these things, right? If teams just gelled automatically by themselves, right? It takes time for them to understand each other and communicate with each other and kind of gel as a team. So I think that's something that's going to take time, because seat time is seat time. You can practice whatever your team is going to do, but it's not until you do it. There's just something about that you can't really replicate in practice, and finding out where, like, I said this, you thought I said that. Okay, so next time I'll say this, and then you'll know what I mean, right?
Right.
Some of that you just kind of have to experience, because the humans take a while to gel.
So what I think we're advocating here is, folks, is that Aston Martin needs to get Lawrence in a more team building exercise and have him do some trust falls with Seb.
No. I think with Otmar Schnafnauer, I think that's the real hero of Drive to Survive. There's some great, like, fourth wall camera eye glances between Otmar Schnafnauer that were priceless. I'm like, this is the meme material out of
Drive to Survive gave the impression there was an odd relationship between Otmar and Lawrence,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of, I don't know if that's real or not, but it definitely came across as a little awkward.
I always think of the Steve Matchett, where in one of his books, where he talks about how, like the difference between having like Ron Dennis as your boss, who was a racer and knows how to run a team, versus somebody like Flavio Briatore that's a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
So, the mechanics would bring like stuff from their own cars to work on, because of course, the team has all the cool stuff, but you can't get caught by Ron Dennis working on your personal stuff using the work equipment. Flavio Briatore doesn't know the difference, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a different environment. So I think we all have had the experience when you're like, is it better to have a boss that isn't in my field or a boss that is in my field? I mean, they both can have.
Yeah.
They both have their pluses and minuses, and their ability to hear and listen. So, I did. I think that was the part that of Drive to Survive that was the most entertaining, and that, someday I just want to be important enough to sit into a meeting and be like, I can be here for 20 minutes, go. Yeah. That'll never happen in my entire life. Like, he's just like, I have to leave at 7:46, go.
You have 20 minutes, go.
Okay. I think this guy's going to go first.
Yeah. And who wanted to be the first guy to go,
Yeah, sure.
If I was Otmar, I think I would have said, oh, I'm sorry, you have what? Said, I have 20 minutes, go.
Yeah.
And say, you know what we got to cover is longer than 20 minutes, so why don't you just go ahead and go?
Yeah.
We'll catch up with you.
Well, you can't say that the guy that's going to fire you.
I can't get everything condensed into 20 minutes that needs to be discussed. But anyway, Otmar says, no, too early to judge.
I think so.
We can't judge Seb too soon. It's too early. And
right.
Time will tell.
I think there are issues with the car. It's going to take them a while to gel. I mean, what driver has ever just like hopped into a car and been successful from one team to another, right? It's been a race. Give them a moment.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah.
But that's not very good punditry on my part.
Right. Next up, we're going to talk about Max Verstappen's differential issue.
I'm driving like a grandma.
So Max Verstappen, it can be revealed. Do I sound like British newspapers there? It can now be revealed.
Is this where you put the BBC music?
Oh, that's a great idea. And let me go find that. This just in, Max Verstappen has an Iffy Diffy. That's it. Hashtag Iffy Diffy.
Not Lee Diffy. That's something altogether
different.
different.
No, that's a completely different thing. Lee Diffy isn't iffy.
Not at all.
No, he's a good guy. No, this is truly an Iffy Diffy. Yeah. So this just in from Motorsport. Hat Tip Motorsport. According to Red Bull F1 advisor, Dr. Marco Helmet, not to be confused with Burgermeister Meisterburger.
No, but you know this is going to be factual.
More toys? Yes. So
it comes from Helmet Marco.
Yeah. So Helmet, the early review of Bahrain revealed that his differential issues at the beginning of the race cost him 0.3 seconds or 0.3 of a second per lap. And when you consider Mercedes pitting early to undercut, that very well may have been a key to why it worked. Marco said, quote, "What was most serious at the beginning of the race was that there were problems in the differential area."
Which is right around here somewhere.
Right. He said, "We lost drastically up to 0.3 per lap. The same was the case with Perez, by the way. Not only was there less grip, but the rear tires were spinning and the tires were getting hot. During this phase, we didn't manage to gain the advantage we would have needed to avoid an undercut. We fell back from 2.5 to 1.7 seconds. And I noticed that as it was happening. That was that was me saying that when I was watching this.
It's funnier if it was home. I watched it with my own eyes happen.
And I could see it with my own eye happen. Yes.
Right.
It was the decisive phase of the first stint where we were clearly handicapped. And then we had another problem, namely that we had to turn down the engine power due to temperature problems, but Max still managed to catch up."
Yeah, thanks, Michael Massey.
Yeah, right. So it does add some clarity on how the early pace put them at risk for the undercut and why that may have worked. If you believe Helmet Marco.
Only facts come from him. Yes.
Right. Then, but they absolutely still feel confident that they can take the fight to Mercedes. But now that I piece that together, I watched it, and it was interesting when they pulled out and then they started to lose the pace again. And, there were some things you were wondering about, and you knew he was struggling with some other issues. And Sergio, of course, had the complete electronic issue that put him back at the grid, started the pit lane. So, clearly Red Bull were fighting some things there. And apparently an Iffy Diffy was one of them.
So I think that this is, so you may remember, 10 years ago, everything was always the computer, right? Like the CPU failed, the software had an issue, right?
The ECU. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like this is CPU, you know what I meant, right?
Yeah. So, ECU. Yeah. I know what you meant.
Because it's a generic thing, right?
Kind of like a hydraulic issue.
Correct. And so I see this as fitting under that as well. Now, the differential may have been a problem. I'm not saying it wasn't. I just think if there's a list of like 5 things that were a problem coming out of Bahrain, this is the one they can talk about, right? Because this isn't really the car's fault. It's fixable. This could happen to anybody. Right. And it doesn't blame Verstappen. Although I think Verstappen is to blame. I don't think he doesn't seem to be very good at tire management, and I don't think the current aero design is helping that. So,
those are fighting words, Grace.
Well, I have this on lots of YouTube videos. I did not invent this theory. But blaming the differential then explains the tire wear, but doesn't blame Max Verstappen.
Right.
And that's the key. And so it's only race 1. We don't want Max to feel like, he's not a good driver at race 1. But this is sort of like, oh, yeah, the software had problems or hydraulic issues. You're right. That's another hydraulic issues. We just can't race anymore. Oh, thanks. That tells me nothing.
So you're saying Helmet wouldn't come in and say, yeah, Max kind of blew that one?
No, not even, he can't say that.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like,
no, and he wouldn't.
No, even Helmet Marco wouldn't say that. And I think he would say just about anything.
Helmet. What did I say? Did I say Max? Yeah, Helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, Helmut Marko, if he wasn't working for Red Bull, he would be Rent-A-Quote, right? Like he just always has some like great kind of things that he says. And you're like, what? Are we living in two different worlds, right? And so even he's not going to say that about a driver on the team that he works for. So this is just, I just saw this as a like, this could still be a real problem, but it's the most like safe thing for them to mention as a problem.
Right. Right.
Yes, the young Dutchman was a bit annoying out there today.
So there you go.
Can we also take a moment that I have several things that I'd like to insert, but so I'm sure everybody has had their fill of the Kimi Räikkönen, can you hear me? You can't hear me, but you keep answering me radio conversation. I feel like that one radio conversation is really like marriage in a nutshell. You can't hear me, but you keep answering me. Didn't I just tell you that? You answered me.
So true.
That was like literally the first thing I thought of, because literally I have told Flip things and then he'll tell me the same thing 10 seconds later. I just told you that. Why I wasn't listening? You answered me. I'm sorry. I took that as you heard me.
Yeah. It's all those little quirks, it's like I'll be walking to the house. I'm going from my office and I'm going to the bathroom, or I'm on and so my wife will start talking as I go by, and then I go through into the other room and she just keeps talking. And I go into the back of the room. I'm on a time schedule and I'm in the complete different part of the house and she's still talking to me. And then I'll come back out and she's like, "What, did you not hear?" I said, I just told you I was going to the bathroom, and I walked through and I went back there. Why would you continue to keep talking knowing I'm going? If I stop and listen, then there, so yes, I agree.
Marriage was summarized in that one interaction.
Yeah, it was great.
You can't hear me, but you keep answering me.
You keep answering me.
Why is that?
Right. So true.
So I just wanted to I didn't want to miss that moment that I thought of during the race. And also before I forget, because we were just talking about Aston Martin and I meant to bring this up too. So we have the fantasy league again this year, and I'm sure that we won't do very well again this year, but we play because it's fun. But my favorite part is always seeing what the other team names are, because our listeners are very creative.
Yes.
And so I think my new favorite is Dustin's team is Aston Racing Force. I'm going to start calling Aston Martin Aston Racing Force. That is like the best name ever. I'm like, I'm so mad. I didn't come up with that first. Aston Racing Force.
Aston Racing Force.
So Dustin, that's a great team name, and I'm going to steal it, but I will try to give you credit, because that was like the greatest descriptor of that team. That's almost as good as referring to like, Alpha as, Minardi, or, like referring to them by, like, whatever, you were Jaguar, like referring to them by, whatever their old, did you call Eddie Jordan while you were there? Right. Anything. But yeah, Aston Racing Force.
Aston Racing Force. I love that.
New team name. That was great.
That's awesome. How did you do in the first one there, Grace?
I don't know. We came like 40 something ish. I don't know.
40 something. I'm not even on the first page, man. But hey, here's the blown diffuser leading the pack. Well, he's tied. She. I'm assuming he. Sure. 186 with Saskaf 1 and Snowman.
I mean, the only improvement we'll have is that Flip is once again team principal. So therefore, I'm just Carl calling him on the phone going, what are you doing with my team? Right? Like I don't have, he's in charge. So that means it'll actually get updated before races, as opposed to me that it was like, I don't know. And then when Tony would run it for us, it was like 5 minutes before practice. And he's like, Grace, do you want to update your picks? I'm like, God, I'm so sorry. I meant to do that. So
I am happy to say that I am ahead of you and Paul both.
Well, Paul's the mutual enemy. So as long as somebody's beating Paul, we're in good shape.
Right.
Only in this sense, not actually my enemy, but
So I got that going for me.
There you go.
That's good.
I would take that. Take that to, take that as long as you can.
Yeah.
Still beating Paul. Like my cousin who's like 6 months younger than I am, right?
Right.
Or older than I am. I'm younger than her, but I always will remind her, you are always older than me.
Right.
Just barely, but that's good.
Paul always reminds me of that too. Let's talk about K-Mags. He's not even an F1 anymore, but there was an interesting story that caught my eye.
All right.
That according to Danish newspaper BT, it seems that Kevin may have had a chance to make a move from Haas to Toro Rosso. When Ricardo left Red Bull and they moved Gasly into that seat, they had an empty spot at Toro Rosso, and apparently Kevin talked to them about that. They had reached out to Kevin about possibly taking that seat. Now, as it was, Kevin felt good about Haas.
Yeah.
And so Toro Rosso moved Alex Albon into that seat instead of Kevin. And the point is here that Kevin may have been a first indication that the team were looking for a possible veteran at Toro Rosso all the way back in 2018, which is interesting. One wonders if Kevin would still be in F1 had he taken that spot, or if Franz would have kicked him to the curb by now. And clearly it tells you that Kevin's unyielding dedication to Haas was commendable, but that turned out to get him nowhere. And Pierre Gasly won a race in a Toro Rosso, and who knows, that could have been Kevin.
Well, he was Gunther Steiner's preferred driver, so
yeah,
there was that. You can take that home with you.
Well, yeah, you could take that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see why. In the moment he picked Haas, right? Like they were.
Yeah, this would be in
2018,
and things look pretty good. And
I think I can't fault him for making that decision. I think it's a sound decision, but hindsight,
yeah, hindsight, being part of the Red Bull stable would have been a good move.
Although I don't know, I think that Red Bull is a not for everybody kind of environment. So
yeah, I do too. And had he gone over there, there's a part of me that thinks he wouldn't have been there for long either.
That's right. So I don't know if that would have worked for him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, but yeah, it does suck. The idea that could have been him. But we all make decisions, and you can't ever. It's not choose your own adventure, right? You can't go, oh, I died, I'm going to go back to the last page I was reading, right?
Right.
I mean, that happens to all of us. It's just not this public, right? You don't get a job. Somebody else gets a job. You didn't apply for a job. You could have had that job. All these kind of things that happen to all of us. But it's just, for the rest of us, we're just schmoes, and it's not public like this. I just think it's unfortunate, right?
It is. Although Paul says that K-Mags looks awful happy in the paddock when he walks by him.
Well,
driving for Chip Ganassi.
I think there's something to that too, right? I think that I have worked both jobs where I'm going to say on call, right? Like those kind of jobs versus jobs where you're not on call.
Yeah.
I'll take the job where I'm not on call. I don't make as much, but that's okay. Right. Like there's something to that peace of mind knowing that my life is my life after work is over.
Yeah,
right. So, I think there's something to the a better environment, a more successful environment, a more supportive environment.
Yeah.
Right?
And in his case, it's an environment where he can actually win.
Yeah, he's going to thrive.
Yeah.
What was his chances of thriving in Formula One? Very slim.
Yeah, very slim. Yeah, exactly.
Even at a top team. So.
Yes. All right. Well, that means it's time for the Slashy, this week's fun / random fact. Oh, yeah. I got a random fact for you.
All right.
I wrote an editorial this weekend on Nico Rosberg's move towards electric. Yep.
Looking for a fun way to win 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/play100 and use code PLAY100. That's code PLAY100 at prizepicks.com/play100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
I wrote that, posted that, and his call for F1 and other sports to do more for purpose-driven business models. Now, you can read that editorial at your leisure. It's not what I'm going to tell you about. Get this, folks.
Okay.
Nico entered the Extreme E off-road series with a team that he owns.
Right.
And he went up against the X44 team, which is owned by Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
And the first race in the desert this weekend happened, and Nico beat Lewis.
That's right.
Ouch.
And Sebastian Loeb. It's not like he's got some slacker.
Yes, the battle continues between Nico and Lewis.
Okay. So did we have a discussion about that? I remember we talked about Extreme E last time I was on the show.
We did.
Did I complain about how terrible their website is? Because I still cannot figure out. Their website drives me nuts. Like, why can't you just tell me where the next 5 races are?
Can I admit that I've never even been to their website?
That's fine. It is, and I will say that I think their race format explanation was a little complicated. It could have been easier if they just said Saturday is a rally race where everybody races by themselves. And that's how we rank qualifying. Day 2, which is Sunday, is now rally cross and everybody races together.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot more straightforward. I mean, it's a bit complicated how that works, but
yeah, the way they got to describing it, it was like, what? And what?
That's number one.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Okay. So part of the thing is, the next one's the Ocean. I was wrong. The next one is in Dakar, is the Ocean Express. So anyway, I watched part of Saturday, which is why I thought Sebastian Loeb was just going to great. It's another series where Sebastian Loeb wins everything.
Yeah, right.
Great. Like, we didn't have 20 years of that in WRC. Let's just have him ruin every sport I watch. Right.
Right.
So we watched, I didn't watch Sunday. We watched part of Saturday just to kind of see what it was like. And desert is hard to race in. So I think, a positive is that EVs can run in the desert. And I think that certainly the military's had a problem running things in the desert because sand doesn't work really well in engines and with helicopters. So it was good to see that you were able to run in the desert. Now, that said, whoever was in the lead when they did the rallycross could see. Nobody else could see a thing, right? It was like racing in the rain. So, but the course was pretty crazy. So I look up some highlights. I think it was interesting. Give it a try. But
we'll be reaching speeds of 3.
They go faster than 3.
Okay, well, whatever.
My car goes faster than 3. EVs aren't slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still 1% of the car sales, but yeah.
It's not. I'm just saying it's not slow.
No, so I know. You got massive torque, Grace.
So the next, so each of the races has a theme, has an environmental condition that they're coming to.
I'm curious. You said the Ocean is the next one. Are they racing on water? What are they doing?
No, that would be great though. I guess they're racing.
It'd be cool if they converted them into boats. See?
Yeah.
They'd be like that little James Bond boat,
I don't know because I thought the next one was the one in Greenland, which is the Arctic. Which is what I think, because again, the Finland rally is always the best rally. Like snow ice rally is always the best one. So I was just like, I thought we were going to the Arctic Express next. We're not. We're going to Senegal next for the Ocean. I guess they race on the beach would be my guess. Yeah, so maybe. That it's kind of like a sand, not in the ocean, which would be great. Sandbars, gravel. So we'll see how that goes.
They should do like they convert them to boat. Have you seen the little Formula boat race things where they've got like the course, are like little channels of water in the land, and these boats just fly like crazy around these little channels? You haven't seen that? That's crazy. I think they call it Formula something.
This sounds like something that used to be on Speed Vision.
It's exactly like something to be on Speed Vision.
Okay.
But this is actually really cool because they go really fast.
All right.
And they're like going down all these little channels, and there's a course, and it's all dug out. It's like trenches dug out inland filled with water.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Yeah. It's really cool.
All right.
I mean, I'd rather watch MotoGP, but
Well, that's fine. No, I was just thinking maybe it's like an Iron Man, but for vehicles, right? Like you start off on land, you have to go through the water.
Oh,
right?
So maybe like the driver's got to swim, a mile.
Okay, so first of all, Jensen Button would finally be successful at one of these. I think he has got a tough season ahead of him.
Yeah.
But he'd crush an Iron Man. So especially next to Loeb and Sainz, who are a little on the older side, right? Poor Carlos Sainz is like, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, right.
I signed up to drive a car. I'm an old man. This is not okay.
It's not okay. So, I didn't watch it. I don't know. If you guys enjoyed it, let us know.
I watched some YouTube clips.
What the hey?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's on TV. I think you can only watch it.
Oh, really? Oh, nobody's carrying it? Oh, well, there you go.
I don't know. I honestly now that you can stream sports, I really never watch regular television. Everything is streamed.
Well, they should be showing it. Damn it. It's electric.
I just, I just appreciate not having to search for things. Ever since somebody said, Grace, stop searching for MotoGP, just buy their streaming service. I'm like, you're right. What have I been doing with my life?
Right. Well, and Grace, you weren't afraid to admit to me that you were a cord cutter.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I did.
I chucked the AT&T Uverse as far as I could throw them.
There you go. Well,
I felt good about it.
Speaking of MotoGP, I did want to mention this as well. So you know that you are a next level star in this world. Well, not only do you have your own clothing line, which I don't have, and I'm pretty sure you don't have, but Valentino Rossi has, right?
Yes.
But he also comes with its own tissue paper. Valentino Rossi, I will post a picture on Twitter. So it's yellow. It's the same lovely bright yellow shade.
Nice.
It is the Valentino Rossi, and then the background white overlay is his little, his VR and his number. So I just thought because fancy clothes or whatever always comes with tissue paper tucked in it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, look at you, Valentino Rossi. Now, I have been known to have sent people some Lewis Hamilton gear. Lewis Hamilton also has some good packaging, but I was
He does have nice packaging. I will admit that.
He does do it. And Flip bought a pair of his boots. Very nice. I'm like, somebody's done this, a whole unboxing thing is a whole new thing. Very nice packaging. But I was like, the yellow Valentino Rossi tissue paper. Nice job. Yeah, I saved that shoebox because I'm totally going to wrap somebody's present in that. Because it looks really nice. It looks really promising, and then it's going to be bologna or something that I'm going to put in there. Even if you don't know who Lewis Hamilton is, it's still it's a very impressive shoebox, right? Whoa, something fancy is going to be in here. No, it's quarters.
Yeah. No, he does. I agree. He does have nice packaging.
Somebody knows what they're doing. So, but the
nice
Valentino Rossi tissue.
Thanks.
It was really good. I was impressed by the. It doesn't take much, but.
Well, we should all be impressed with that.
There you go. Someday. One more reason to be Valentino Rossi is you can have your own tissue paper.
Yeah, I think it would be great.
It's pretty.
I'd like to see the tissue paper for Marc Marquez.
Well, we don't know when he's coming back yet, so that'll make it interesting when he just
Has anybody seen Marc Marquez?
No, he did race. He did race in practice, and then
How's his brother doing?
Not good. I knew that was going to be your next question.
Oh, that's not good.
Alex Marquez is not. He did not do well last year. Did not do well this year. So I think, which is unfortunate because I think he seems like a genuinely swell guy.
Yeah, but he's probably now going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he crashed. It wasn't.
Yeah. Ooh.
He hurt his toe. I think because it was a big thing is they wouldn't let Alex Marquez race, but they let his brother run in practice. Right? Why did that happen? But.
Well, because Alex isn't Marc Marquez.
No. And the type of injury matters. So
yes,
I don't know. I just, it's Qatar was not good for him. So we'll
it's too bad.
Just not think about it, and we'll just move on to the next race.
There you go. Well, it's Bahrain wasn't good for Seb.
That's exactly it. It's just 2 races. It's just, Portimao's the next race. They'll do better there.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, he'll be turning his jacket in. That's it, big boy. Give me your jacket.
I love Hell's Kitchen. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, me too. It's good fun. All right. That does it for this podcast.
We can save that for the next off show because the most recent season will be over then. So
yeah, that's right.
You can join us for the Hell's Kitchen podcast.
Yeah. What is it? I don't know how many are left. We're down to
4.
4 black jackets, right?
4 black jackets.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it, I guess, but
Yeah. When's it on? Thursday nights?
Yeah, Thursday nights.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Again, the DVR catches it all. I don't know. I watch it on Friday, so then I assume it's probably on Thursday night.
It'll probably end up being the cute little gal with purple hair.
Oh, yeah. It's totally going to be Mary Lou. It's always been Mary Lou.
Yeah. Because as much as I like Big D.
Yeah.
Because he's Irish.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. No way. I think she just has it just all rolls off of her, which is what you need for that position, right? Like, she just keeps on going.
She's just
pizzazz.
She does. Although I did like when they put her wig on Declan. That was hilarious.
That was
he would look great with some long purple hair. It was a very nice look for him.
It was a good look for him.
So yeah,
all right.
Mary Lou, I'm with you. I think that's who's gonna win.
Yeah, it's him or Corey.
Yeah.
Corey. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Yeah.
All right.
I think Corey would be the surprise, but I think it's gonna be Mary Lou.
Well, she would be. Yeah. All right, well, that does it for this podcast. Be sure to stop by the website, theparcfermé.com. Just share your opinion with decorum and civility. As always, that means no personal attacks. That dog don't hunt. Not at our website anyway. Lots of other places you can do that. A huge thank you to our Patreon supporters because we could not and would not do this podcast without you. And if you do not support this podcast through Patreon or another support vehicle, find someone who does, pat them on the back because they are the reason that you listen to this podcast. Be sure to go over to iTunes, give us some love over there with the good ratings or whatever podcast platform you choose. And a big reminder, I know I always say this at the end and nobody ever makes it to the end, but we are recording these and putting them on YouTube. So every once in a while, there'll be a longtime listener who wasn't aware that we also now record the video of this and we put that on our YouTube channel. So you too can watch 2 talking heads talk to each other, but you get to see our arm waving and all that stuff. You get to see all that and the eye rolls and you get to see the number 46 Valley hoodie and all of that stuff, right? The doctor.
That's right, the doctor. And usually there's some cat-based shenanigans going on over here. So
always some cat-based shenanigans in the world's largest cat tree, the Taj Mahal.
That's right. It's the Burj Khalifa, first of all.
The Burj Khalifa. That's
the Burj Khalifa of cat trees. And, we have 2 sleeping. There's one way at the top that you can't really see. And then Pai Mei is over here.
There, yeah.
Because podcasting's hard.
And all you get to see in my video is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my guitars, 5 of the others of many. So that's what you get to see in my picture of Michael Schumacher.
Yes.
And Senna over here.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, you've got one of those. This, and I've said this before, this is autographed by Bob Dance. And many of you who know Bob Dance will know that was Ayrton's mechanic at Lotus.
Yes. So this is a slight tangent, and I know you're ending the show, but this is bonus material. Yeah. So they're going to do a Drive to Survive for MotoGP, and oh God, the guy that, I hate, that's terrible. The guy that did the movies. What? That's great. Neil.
Manish.
No. Crap. The second one was the Kentucky, the tornado.
Oh.
This is how unprepared I am for everything. Anyway, they're going to do their own Drive to Survive. And
that'll be cool. Is it the guy that did the one on the Kentucky Kid?
Yeah, but didn't he do Faster is the first one. Yes. So Mark Neal, I was getting there, right? Mark Neal's going to do it, and he's who did Faster. And
that was good.
Right. And then his second one, Mark Neal.
Harder, Faster? It sounds like an April Wine album.
No, it's just Faster.
Oh, okay.
So that came out in 2003. So that's a great movie. I definitely recommend it. And then I think he did another one. Yes. The Doctor, the Tornado, and the Kentucky Kid. How did I forget the Kid? Yeah, you think I'd remember the Doctor, right? But instead I just got the Tornado and the Kentucky Kid, which were the two Americans, which was done in 2006. So anyway, so they're doing their own Drive to Survive for MotoGP, and Mark Neal's going to do it. So it should be good. Should be something.
It'll be great.
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for this podcast. You can come back next week, and I promise we won't be spending most of the podcast talking about food, wine, and other things other than F1. We're going to be reviewing a race because that's what we do, right? It's a race next weekend.
Are we? Is there? There's not one on my calendar.
Oh, okay. Then in 2 weeks. Next week, you do get all this bullshit again.
I don't know, because they change the calendar, I swear, every time. I'm like, we don't have a race. This happened like last week. I'm like, there's not a race.
No, I'm wrong.
I think one more week.
Yeah, I think I'm wrong. It was 2 weeks. So the next race is
moved
the weekend of the 16th.
Yeah, but it's not your fault. They moved all the first 5 races around. Like once Australia went out, everything got messed up. So.
And I got confused and scared. And
I'm an old man. I
don't know.
It's okay. Yes. So you get one.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You get another week, right, of this bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah, and then we get back to the race reviews, right?
Show.
Right. So, and then I'll be right back with the cardboard box talking about race reviews. And
that was great. I mean, that feedback, we often talk about, funny. That initial feedback that we got like after podcast 2 of how we were like always entertaining, occasionally insightful.
Right.
So I think somebody telling Paul that he's as boring as a cardboard box was like, that's great.
This podcast, he has a cardboard box with a smiley face.
I was like,
too good.
Oh man,
but it's like stuff like that. Occasionally insightful has become our tagline.
Right.
It's
that came
fun.
from
I'm sure that dude never intended that would become our tagline, but we own it.
I feel like it perfectly summarizes what I at least bring to the show.
Yeah, just occasionally insightful. You're like the Kimi Räikkönen of podcasting.
I am indeed. I just show up and do some stuff, and then I go home and leave you all to fix the car, or whatever it is that you guys do when I leave.
Right. I know. You just show up and you just go.
How the that's possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. For what? Anyway,
I literally be back.
I was just going to say, I literally have been in public with Flip and I've yelled, for what? Which I'm like, somebody's going to be like, God, those people need to be on divorce court. Like, they don't know. They don't know why that's funny.
I know. All those inside jokes are too good.
For what? Why are you so answering me?
So anyway, be sure to join us next week for all of this same tedious crap.
Here we are,
and we'll review some news with you guys and share your opinion and tell us what you think of the Extreme E off-road series, and tell us what you think about Max's Iffy Diffy. Is it an excuse? Yeah. Was it Max? Did Max cock it up?
Yeah.
Or what do you think? So let us know next week. Until that time, this is Todd, a.k.a. Negative Camber, saying so long, Grace.
See you next week.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
It's not what I feel I've got to prove at all. I don't really want to prove anything. I started as an amateur with no idea or no intention of becoming world champion. I was curious to find out what it was like to drive a car fast, to drive on a certain circuit, to drive a certain type of car.
Looking for a fun way to win 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/play100 and use code PLAY100. That's code PLAY100 at prizepicks.com/play100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.